Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Once again I'm doing a commentary audio bit for my painting that I did and that maybe you've seen of a girl and her horse. Here on the video I have already started the underpainting. I use Mero J as a medium and I use, I believe, ultramarine blue and raw umber, and I make a mix out of that, and I sort of use a lot of paint in the darker areas and more medium in the lighter areas. So I sort of uh, pretty much do the whole painting that way before I put any color on. And I don't do this with all my paintings. It really depends a little bit on what kind of painting it is, and this is a portrait. I like to do it when it's portrait, so sometimes I even underpaint only the person and maybe not everything in the painting even. So but here I'm doing the underpaint for the horse, which was kind of important, I felt, because of the lighting in this painting. It's really, the horse is really dark, and the reference photo that I had was sort of a little bit, it was a really nice photo, but it was a bit tricky because the girl is in shadow completely, pretty much. So I also had to sort of change that a little bit and make her a little bit lighter, but I'll get to that later on. So here I'm just trying to get the values going and sort of get the darkest bit in there, which is of course the horse. And this was a commission work, and really nice family. And I actually went to meet the this was a surprise for the girl. She doesn't know about it, and I kind of pretended that I was really into horses, which is, I do like horses actually. I did ride quite a bit when I was younger, and really liked horseback riding, but I stopped. But anyway, so I said to her that, oh, can I meet your horse and everything, because I like to sort of, if it's a commission and I have a chance to meet the person or the animal that I'm painting, I really like to do that, because I think that it helps a lot. If you're painting somebody you never met, it's difficult because you don't really know what to put into the person. It's hard to explain, but it even goes like that with animals. So I wanted to meet the horse and see her kind of interact with the horse and everything, and that helped a lot. And it was a lovely horse, a little bit shy, but very cute. And so now I'm starting on the darker parts, uh, like her hair there, the shadow parts. And I sort of, for some reason, like to do the darker parts first. It can depend on the mood as well. Sometimes I kind of don't follow my own rules, and that's the creative process. That is part of it. That is part of being creative. So I'm trying to get the hair kind of shadows down there uh, onto the canvas. And as you can see, I have also finished the horse, the face of the horse, and I had some trouble with the one eye there that you can see that is closer to the girl, because I couldn't really see the eye in the reference photo. It was a little bit difficult. I had to use my instinct for it, and use my knowledge to get it correct. And you will probably see, you might have wondered if you watched the other video, the speed painting video, you might see here also that it is jumping a bit back and forth again. The reason for that was that I felt like I could use some help or some guidance with this painting, so I did take it with me to painting lessons that I go to 3 times a week. So I did take the painting with me and painted a lot there with the guidance of a teacher. So that is the reason why sometimes it jumps. Like you can tell that, you know, I've gotten a lot further with the painting that would be if it was kind of continuous time lapse. But that's how it goes. And the painting lessons are unfortunately over for this year, and well, for this spring, and it will start again this fall. So you won't have so much of that kind of stuff for a while again. Now I'm starting with the shirt again, doing the darker parts first, getting the kind of darkness of the folds, like inside the folds and stuff they're going. And I've also worked on the what is it called in English? Is it I don't know, but what she's holding there. If anybody, please let me know. I will try to figure out before this video is over. But what the horse has on, you know, in the face there, I've been working on that part as well. And again, working on the shirts, just the shirt and the shirt, and trying to get the folds. As you can see, this is really rough. The underpainting here, I don't do a lot of details right away. I do really kind of rough brush strokes and stuff like that. The details will come later. I believe it's a head collar. That's it, what the horse is wearing. So head collar and lead rope, I think. Been painting those on a bit, and now you see that I'm putting in some more middle tones there, kind of neutral, you know, sort of the fabric, and more folds in there, lots of dark details in the shirt. And you know, painting clothing can be kind of difficult, and this one was okay. Again, it wasn't that interesting to paint, just because the whole shirt was mostly in the shadow, so it was really sort of not an interesting, let's say, part of the painting to paint or to look at, really. So it's just not really noticeable. And when I started with the color, I had to also think about, of course, the color in the painting in itself, and how it would look the best. Still trying to get the values there. It's important to sort of try to get the values as correct as possible. I mean, you want to get the darker, you know, the dark parts as dark as you feel they are, and the light parts as light as they are. Sometimes it's difficult to get the light parts really light just because you use medium, and sometimes, you know, there's some paint kind of in the medium there, or the medium actually has a color to it. So the lighter parts might not be as light when you do the underpainting that you would want it to be. I still try to kind of, you know, get some medium in there. This again, like I said in the other commentary, the other video that I had, the Lieberman painting. This video now that I'm taping this is again doing the same thing. The video is really kind of jumping a lot, and it's a little bit difficult sometimes for me to follow. So I have to. So fortunately for you, it won't be like that. But now, when I'm recording, it's really kind of lagging a lot, so sometimes a bit difficult to see exactly what I'm doing there. Try not to get the shadows, even more shadows in the hair there. and sort of the medium, again the the middle tones there, to sort of fill it out, fill out the white. You don't want any white on the canvas. Some people like that. Personally, I don't. I really feel like I want to paint in those edges as soon as possible, and get everything colored somehow. Um, it's easier for me to paint then, also because you can see the values easier, how sort of the values go with each other, and you can see, and then you can correct. But if you have, like now you have a background there that's completely white, it's difficult to sort of get all these values that I'm now doing completely correct. So I think I will start to do the background right there. Yes, that's it. Before I do any more underpainting, I do the background. And here I wanted to paint a cool color, because this part that I'm doing right now is supposed to be further away. So I want the feeling, I want this to be a sunny painting. I want it to be that you can tell that it's a sunny day, it's a positive painting, and therefore I wanted the background to be cooler so that it looks like it's further away. And so I think I'm using a lot of ultramarine there, and cobalt blue, I think there is there as well, together with some green, and a little bit of orange too, actually. I think it's in there to make that kind of a little bit like earthy and dirty sort of look. Sometimes when you do like a sky, and you do it, you paint it blue, and sometimes it looks really unreal, like it looks very kind of like a Disney painting or something, or it's extremely nice color blue, but maybe you want it to be more realistic. It's a nice trick is to actually glaze it with cadmium orange, tiny bit of cadmium orange, and you will get that, you will tone it down. So this background is important, this part at least, to be that it is a little bit toned down. It's not an important, I'm a sucker for details. I love details. Sometimes it's hard for me to actually not do a lot of detail. It's funny, but it's true. Sometimes I have trouble with that. I see these great painters, on YouTube or anywhere really, and they do these wonderful brush strokes, like thick brush strokes, and they just get it that, it's beautiful light and shadow and portraits and stuff like that, and I know with myself I would love to learn that, because I will tend to sort of really, I can overwork as well a place. So now I'm not sure if you only see my head. I'm very sorry about that if that's the case, but I can talk about the background a little bit more. So basically it's kind of a foresty scene, and I've sort of done a little bit of a dry brush technique there, which I later saw that I wasn't happy with, because you can really see the canvas through. The canvas kind of comes through somehow, those dots of the canvas. And unfortunately here where I live right now in Finland, we don't really have those very smooth canvases, and that bothers me. I would love to have those. Of course I can gesso some myself, but I would love to be able to buy those. They're really, really smooth, they don't have a lot of texture, because sometimes that texture is really nice and sometimes it can bother me, and in this case it bothered me, and you will see later that I will glaze it. That helps. But here I was, as you can see, using a dry brush to kind of blend it all in, to make that kind of out of focus look almost. And so now moving a little bit closer. This is the background again, but like it's closer. So painting in a little bit of details in there, if you can call it that, really. there is it's a little bit darker, and I'm using kind of, well, darker colors really, and more kind of like green, I would say. Not so cold anymore, not that cold bluish green, but more pure green, and well, pure green, but warmer was the word I was looking for, and but also dark, still dark. I will paint the warmest background tones in kind of when it really is close. You will see it later. So here I'm trying to also get just some sort of idea that there is trees, and so that you can see that it's sort of like a forest background there. But we're not completely sure, we can't really tell, and it's not important. The important part of this painting is the girl and the horse, and so this is just the background. And here you can see I'm a little bit closer. This is some sort of field they're standing on, and I'm using a lot warmer green tones here, lighter and warmer, so that you get also the sensation that it's a light and it's sunny. It's a sunny day. We really love our sunny days in Scandinavia, I can tell you that. So just to paint it was a pure joy. I think we're still waiting for the spring to be kind of complete here. It's getting to it, but it takes time. So if you can paint the summer, that's a good plus right there. So again, I'm trying not to paint too much details in there. I have a little bit of a hill going there, and I had to, I had to really focus on not making this important. So I'm putting in some sort of ideas of something going on. I have even sketched with I've even sketched there. I can tell now where I'm painting that it should be some sort of plank going, some wood there, but I just painted it over because it wasn't important. It was there in the photo, and I thought, oh, but then I painted it over. Really, if you can kind of like, if you have a reference photo and the client says, okay, this is the photo I want, but if there's stuff there around that just isn't important, you can really take that away, in my opinion. It will just be distracting, and you don't want it to be distracting from what's important in the painting, which is of course the person, usually. So here I'm using more yellow in the green, and just a little bit of blue and cold tones when just to get some sort of idea of some sort of shadows going there, and something happening, that it's grass, but we're not supposed to see each little grass straw. Trying to get that hill going and finish it, but still not make it extremely important. Just shapes, just shadows and shapes, lights, nothing else. And also I didn't finish the background completely. I continued then on the girl and the horse, and then I will come back to the background later, because you shouldn't finish something when a painting is completely unfinished. You shouldn't really just finish one thing first, in my opinion. You should kind of work back and forth. Of course, again, this is something that can change. One day you're in a different mood and it works differently for you. You never know, but it's just one of those things that normally I work back and forth. So now, as you can see, I have started to work on the shirt, and I think the reason why I decided to do that was because I was uncertain of the color that I wanted for the shirt. I think in the reference photo, the shirt is kind of, I think it's white, but like with the shadow and the light, it looked really sort of purpley bluish, but I'm not sure. I was really looking at that, but I couldn't really tell, but it felt like it could have been white in real life. But I decided to go with the color still because of the shadow that is there, and because I was a bit uncertain about what color would work best. I thought it was a good idea to start with that first, and then I could work around with everything else and then change it if I have to, but don't leave that for the last and kind of be like panicking because I can't get the shirt right type of thing. So just to sort of get that out of the way a little bit, so I decided to have it sort of like in the light areas they're sort of whitish cold blue, but still some of the ridges, you can tell I put some purple in there. Ridges, is that it? Like folds. In the folds there I have put some purple and red in there a little bit. Try to put some blue there in those dark folds in there. And this is sort of the first coat of the shirt, and here you can see it really jumped, and that's because I have been working on that shirt a lot in my art class. But it's not a very interesting, you know, process anyways for you guys to see. You saw basically how I did it there, and trying to get the really light part there on the right side. And in the reference photo it was very kind of like her left arm and the shirt there was really like super white because of the light that day, and I had to change that a little bit. Now I have started on the skin color. I have done first coat of skin color, trying to get just some definition, shadow and light, and not be afraid to use too much red. I am sometimes, as you can see now, it looks a little bit yellow, and sometimes I have been afraid to use too much red, but I'm kind of, it's just everything is a learning process, and I'm learning to not be afraid of colors, really. Trying to get the hands painted in a little bit, get the definition there of shadow and light so that you can see what the hand looks like and everything. So now I have started to work on the horse a little bit. Or is it just so lagging that it looks like it's the horse, but actually it's the arm I see now. So I take that back. Take that back. Please forgive me. I'm still working on the hand. I think that got that shadow bit there pretty well down right away, which is always a really good thing, you know, if it's going well in the beginning. You know, every painting have this awkward stage, a teenage phase, where it just looks awful. It just looks awful. The person you're painting looks awful. The background is off. Everything is awful, usually. And that's one of those stages where some people just kind of stop painting, but you can't. You can't. Look at this. It looks awful. It looks awful, but it's gonna be good in the end. And you just have to keep painting, and you will get there. So I'm still working on the light and shadow, nothing more interesting really, but now I'm working more on the hands. I just wanted to get the hands kind of out of the way. It's one of those things that everybody says is really difficult. It is difficult, but you have to practice it. And I would I would do some drawings of your own hand and hands in general, and just practice that a lot because it will get easier. Oh, now you can see that it's jumped again a little bit. I've been to class, I worked on a horse. You can see the horse has gotten some color there. And now I'm working on the eye. I had a lot of trouble with this eye actually for some reason. Mm, um, I when I started it, it was just wrong shape, and it looked like the eye was kind of positioned in a weird way, and so I had to fix that. And those things are the reason why I go to art class. And I think I'm a pretty good painter, but you can never learn enough. Never. You have to you have to just take the education that you can get, take the knowledge that you're being offered always. You don't have to use it. I mean, if there's a contemporary artist who tells me, well, put a dot in the forehead of the, head of the horse there, but okay, that's a great idea, but no, no, thank you. So, no, I'm just joking, but knowledge is out there. Take it, take it. So I'm trying to save this eye with shadowing and light around it, and that's basically how you shape it, and shape it to be towards the direction you want it to be, or whatever. You will see later on when I do the eye in the shadow area on the other side that I don't really even paint it there very much. I just kind of highlight a little bit to make the illusion of the eye, and to make you sort of see where the eye is yourself without showing it. So light and shadow is so important, you know? So I've also glazed the whole lighter side of the horse there with I believe it's a raw umber, if I'm not mistaken, to give it that kind of reddish brown color, where in the shadow area it's more of that ultramarine and raw umber type of cool shade. And actually, like, animal fur is not so difficult. I don't know, some people really have trouble with it. I mean, it's just detail, and you can do how much you want really out of it. You can put in really fine detail with that you see individual hairs, or you can use shadow and light to create the illusion. Here I'm painting on a little bit of a light that you can see on the horse's back. It has kind of a weird cut to it. They have trimmed the horse so that the back have more fur, and I think they've shaved the fur off for the summer, so it looks a little bit strange. And for a while there, I was kind of like, my brain was sort of like not wanting to understand this cut, but when I accepted it, I guess it was easier to work with. Just putting in a little bit of highlight there and not overdoing it. It's a very small area of the painting. It's not important in any way. And here again, I'm working on the what was it that I said it was called? Head, thing. And I'm painting in the shadow areas there on the shadow side, and some highlights there. It's kind of like leather, and it's really highlighted, so trying to get at least the shape going in the beginning, and just sort of the idea of shadow and light. And now when I'm looking at this video, I kind of can see that I'm sort of in the way sometimes a lot, and that happens because unfortunately I don't always remember that I'm filming, and I have said this before, and this is a hobby, these videos, and it is more important. The painting is more important, so if I forget you guys a little bit sometimes and I'm in the way, I mean, you have to excuse me, and it just happens. And also, I don't actually like to hold my palette, so I usually have it on the table next to me, which is on the other side, so I have to sort of kind of bend, to get it. So I guess that's also often why I'm kind of go back and forth in front there. So now I have gotten the head color started, I think, and I'm just getting in the basic shapes and light and shadow there, and I will make it finer later on. But I'm getting in sort of just where the shadow hits it there, and kind of shadow on the horse, and all the details will kind of come later, but you just start with the details and you work back and forth, like I said. So of course this side that I'm working on is in the shadow, and it's very, very dark, so you will see much less actually of the head color on that side later on. This one was interesting to do. I haven't done a head color for a horse before, and it was lots of details and lots of little, you know, intricate, how do you say it, little things that I had to paint in, and some that I had to leave out, and it was fun, but it was very much, a lot of detail, and it took a while. So here is really, I've just mixed a black, I believe this is again raw umber and ultramarine. That is, I mean, you can mix many types of black, but I think I use ultramarine blue for all of them really. And you have warmer tones, black. Well, obviously it's not completely black, but it's as close as it gets with color. And I never use black. I never use real black. And so or extremely rarely if I do. So brings it more natural black if you mix it with colors. Here I'm putting that kind of darker color again, make some more definition to the shirt and folds and things. I think maybe the shirt was the most tedious work that I did on this painting. I don't know why, but I just didn't like to do it. But I don't know if clothes are not really my favorite thing to paint, and I think that is because I need to practice it more. And I know myself well enough that I can say that if it's something that I'm not completely secure about, I might find it tedious, and that is a weakness that I have to work on. But we all have strengths and weaknesses. I would say my strength is likeness, to get it to look like a person, um, and weakness is sort of the things that I find boring in a painting, to get beyond that. But it's like that for everybody. But again, like I said earlier, you just have to sort of get over that part of the painting, I guess. You will always have it in all paintings. And for me, in this one, it was the shirt. But I'm trying to get some highlights in there, but then again, not to overdo it, which I believe I did at some point, and I had to tone it down again with a glaze and a little bit of a dry brush to kind of smooth it all over, to make it more anonymous, I guess. So I've started on the hair there, again putting in some shadow in the darker areas. Hair is always difficult. Some people are really masters at hair, but it is difficult. Takes practice, again. And also what's important, or what's interesting actually, is that sometimes if you get the hair wrong, for example, you get too much hair on a person or too little, it can really change the whole person completely. It can be that, I've seen portraits, for example, of celebrities. You know what they look like, and the painting is good, but then it's just something there that is wrong, and you can't really put your finger on it. And then once you start to realize it, it can be the hairline, or it can be too much hair, too little hair in the wrong place or whatever. And that is quite interesting. The hair is a really important part of the image of the person that we have. And with this in particular, again, it was so much in shadow that at some point it was difficult to kind of see what her hair color was. And then it's good to have met the person, you see, so that you have an idea already of the image of the person. And also, it's also a good thing to have more reference photos you're not going to use except for seeing, for example, stuff like hair color. That if the reference photo you're painting from is really in shadow, and you, because it's good to know what the color is, even though the color will look different with shadow, in the shadow, because color is just light and shadow. I'm trying to get the light going there, because the light really hit the top of the head there and forehead a lot. And so working on that, working on the horse again, fringe going there. I don't know why. That was actually a really simple a simple part of the horse, but for some reason I had a lot of trouble with that. And I'm working again with the collar, with the face collar there, and trying to get that finished. There was a lot of shadow in that area. So again, because our eyes want to see when I was looking at the reference photo, I was trying to kind of make out what it was, even though I sort of didn't need it for the painting. But it's weird how your eyes just want to know. They want to know what is there if you're gonna paint it, even though in the painting it's not really gonna show. You just it's really bizarre. But at least for me, I don't know how it is for you guys. You let me know in the comments how you feel if you have a reference photo where there's something really in the shadow. Do you feel, and you're gonna paint it, do you feel helpless? Do you feel like how do you feel about that? I feel like my eyes just want to know what's there, even if it's not gonna be there in the painting. So often what I do also is that I paint actually in the thing that is there, and I make the shadow from glazing. And it's funny, I kind of used a long time on this, and I don't really even know why, because it's not that important part um, of the painting. But once you start something like that, and you feel like it's wrong, you just have to kind of get it right. Otherwise, it will drive you crazy. As you can see, I'm using a very small brush. I like to use, I love small brushes. I'm just telling you, I love tiny brushes. um don't know why they don't tend to last very long, because I work them to the bone. I mean, I I love, like I said earlier, I like detail, and so those really small brushes is something that I buy regularly. I have a bunch. I always buy a bunch if I find uh, ones that I like. Some art stores don't really sell very good ones, so if I find some that I like, I kind of, yeah, I tend to buy a few of them, so that I have them, because it's a nightmare if you need a brush like that and you don't have it. It's like, oh my god, what can I do? So now you see I've been painting on her, the horse and everything, and I'm coming back to the background a little bit, because then I see with the color, I can compare, and I can see there what needs to be done. So putting in more shadow, more definition there. I believe I'm putting in some more green as well. It was kind of a little bit, felt a bit like dull, the color somehow. I needed to put in some nice green. Using a lot of yellows there to get that nice green. Sap green, I think, was also one that I was using. And again, using kind of a dry brush in those areas to kind of make that foggy effect, sort of. Or but like I said earlier, then you can have that sort of canvas coming through which I really don't like. So I got a tip that I could paint the whole canvas, do a wash on the whole canvas to make the canvas an actual color, so that whatever comes through when you do use a dry brush, you know, won't be white at least. So I will do that. You live and you learn. I have also learned that when I babble this much, my tea gets cold. But it's still good. So putting in some more shadow there, and I think I'm finishing up the background, because there is also some sort of logs there that I haven't done that are still white. I'm putting some kind of stuff also a bit in the foreground, or I mean in the background, but the foreground of the background there, to just have something going on that is not completely like putting in some different green colors and different, a little bit of a blue, and to make it at least a little bit interesting, although it's not really interesting. Get that paint, you know, the lines well towards the subject is important, and actually kind of difficult. You don't want that kind of harsh line that she has on her arm there. Oh yes, I have gotten the details of the head color in those ornaments there, dots. Now I'm back to the hair, working back and forth, working on the horse, on the girl, on the horse, on the girl. Glazing right now, I can see a lot, make it darker. The darker your shadows are, of course, the lighter the light parts are. So I'm trying to get that effect on the hair to make those light areas on top there and in the forehead really kind of pop, or not pop, but like be light, you know, so that it looks like the sun hits it. Working a little bit on the hands, being careful not to overwork the hands, but still they needed some work, and hands have so much detail, so much shadow and light. So I think that's why also people think or feel like it's, you know, they're difficult, and I can understand that. But I think they're a challenge, and it's really really fun to paint hands, I think, and draw hands. So much stuff going on. So now I'm doing some sort of touch-ups. I think I'm kind of like going everywhere, you see now. Just fixing little things, fixing lines, cleaning up, as they call it. Cleaning up the hands a little bit. You can see here now that I'm putting in some individual hair strands. Putting in some individual coming towards the black background of the horse there, which is a nice effect. Fixing now some details again, putting a bit darker, the dark areas of the nose, the ear, the mouth, corner of the mouth, all this, and signing. It's the end. I did actually fix a few things again after after I had signed, but they were so small. They were really small stuff that I kind of felt like I should fix, just like the eyebrow and things like that. But I'm happy with the results, and very happy that you took this journey with me. And I hope that you will see me again soon. And thanks for subscribing, and visit my webpage if you can. Have a good day. Bye, guys.